Oh, hello there. We didn't see you.
Welcome to drama
With llamas.
in pajamas.
We are the Drama Llamas. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Athanasia, and we are classical actors who have been making art together since Uber was an adjective.
We are here with you today to help bring you into the world of classical theater. We hope to teach you how to understand mostly Shakespeare, but also other classical playwrights and genres.
Remember, no one wrote a play hoping it would bore you, so we hope to help you not only understand, but to enjoy this work as well.
So, get comfy in your pajamas.
Grab your llamas,
And let's do some drama!
Hail to your lordship!
I'm glad to see you well, Horatio, or do I forget myself?
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. But what is your fare in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I prithee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. My father! I think methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw? Who?
The king, your father.
The king, my father?
Seizing your admiration for a while with an attent ear.
Oh, for God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch in the dead vast and middle of the night been thus encountered. A figure like your father appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes within his truncheon's length, while they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, whereas they had delivered. Both in time, form of the thing, the apparition comes. I knew your father, these hands are not more like.
Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made him none.
'Tis very strange.
Oh, those silly boys. First, I saw him once. He was a goodly king. He was a man. Yes, I do imagine the king your father was a man. They'll have the same set of pronouns. Maybe change Horatio's title from Captain of the Watch to Captain Obvious.
Obviously. In this scene, these young men take momentous tragic events and turn them into butt of jokes and the object of childish games. Can you make the ghost talk? I dare you to make the ghost talk.
There are instances of great beauty, humor, and emotional resonance in this scene. But can you imagine if all of Shakespeare were like that? A bunch of dudes joshing each other? Hardly the classics that would survive hundreds of years.
Hashtag hot take.
Nope. To truly create a masterpiece, we need to add some women.
Shakespeare's plays don't seem to always pass the Bechdel test, which is a test to evaluate the representation of women in certain media. A certain work will pass the test if there are at least 2 female characters who talk to each other but are discussing something other than a man they're interested in. However, these plays still have some very strong female characters who have clearly stood the test of time.
We would love to go over every single female character in Shakespeare with you today, but we'd rather keep this episode under 12 hours or so. Instead, we will just focus on 5 females today. Stay tuned, because in 2025, we will be focusing on character analysis. Some of the characters we analyze will be women from Shakespeare's plays, and you will get to do a deep dive into their personalities and stories later.
The first 2 women we would like to talk about are Desdemona and Emilia from Othello. This is a scene in this play where the 2 women are having a philosophical discussion regarding marriage and relationships. Despite the lack of equality in professional opportunity and education for women at the time, Desdemona and Emilia are using solid and logical arguments to back up their points. It is also interesting to note that they are married to very different men, and their divergent life experience may have influenced their perspectives.
Let's be a fly on the wall of this conversation from Othello, Act 4, Scene 3. And again, since we don't want this video to be 12 hours long, instead of us discussing the more obscure passages, we'll put some paraphrases on the screen for you.
I called my love false love, but what said he then? Sing willow, willow, willow. If I court mo women, you'll couch with mo men. So get thee gone, good night. Mine eyes do itch. Doth that bode weeping?
'Tis neither here nor there.
I have heard it said so. Oh, these men, these men! Dost thou in conscience think, tell me, Emilia, that there be women do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
There be some such, no question.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
Why, would not you?
No, by this heavenly light.
Nor I by this heavenly light. I might do it as well in the dark.
Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world?
The world's a huge thing. It is a great price for such a small vice.
In troth, I think thou wouldst not.
In troth, I think I should. Mary, I would not do such a thing for a joint ring, nor for measures of lawn, nor for gowns, petticoats, nor caps, nor any petty exhibition, but for the whole world. Why, who would not make her husband a cuckold to make him a monarch? I should venture purgatory for it.
Beshrew me! If I would do such a wrong for the whole world, I do not think there is any such woman.
Yes, a dozen. But I do think it is their husbands' faults if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties, or else break out in peevish jealousies, throwing restraint upon us. Or say they strike us. Why, we have galls, and though we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell, and have their palates both for sweet and sour as husbands have. What is it that they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? I think it is. And doth affection breed it? I think it doth. Is frailty that thus errs? It is so too. And have we not affections, desires for sport, and frailty, as men have? Then let them use us well, else let them know. The ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
Good night, good night. Heaven me such uses send, not to pick bad from bad, but by bad mend.
'Cause that always works. Each of these women has a very clear code of ethics. Desdemona thinks her personal behavior should be above reproach no matter what happens. She should be faithful to her husband regardless of anything, and idealistically thinks it will work out. Emilia, on the other hand, is a bit more practical. She would not cheat on her husband for no reason, or a small reason, but if she could elevate the status of their household and obtain a comfortable level of power, she'd make an exception. And she doesn't think her husband would disagree. Knowing Iago, she's probably right. She also understands the patriarchal society they are living in and believes that when women are mistreated by their husbands, as they often were, they have the right not to take it laying down. She is asserting equality. Men and women have the same senses and needs, and they can make the same choices, good and bad.
If you know the plot of Othello, You know what is going to happen next. I am not going to hashtag spoiler alert it for you if you don't. But it is interesting to see at this auspicious moment how the two women respond to their circumstances and view their own identities both as their own person and as a member of a marriage. After listening to the men talk for much of the play, this is a thought-provoking new lens for the audience to look through. Bros have their bro code and Amelia has her hoe code, I guess. But can you really blame her?
How about we lighten the mood with one of the comedies? I bring you to the city of Illyria, which is near modern Albania and Montenegro, where we find Viola, dressed as a man, speaking with the grieving Olivia, who has recently lost her brother. The quote-unquote character Viola is playing, to avoid being exploited as a woman alone in a new society, is the henchman of the Duke Orsino. He has sent her to court Olivia on his own behalf.
Please enjoy Act 1, Scene 5 from The Twelfth Night. This scene is full of 16th century jokes, but this video isn't about that. So, like the first scene, we will paraphrase the jokes above so no one misses the punchlines.
Whence came you, sir?
I can say little more than I have studied, and that question's out of my part.
Are you a comedian?
No, my profound love, and yet, by the very fangs of malice, I swear I am not that I play.
I heard you were saucy at my gates, and allowed your approach rather to wonder at you than to hear you. If you be not mad, be gone. If you have reason, be brief. 'Tis not that time of moon with me to make one in so skipping a dialogue. What are you? What would you?
Good madam, let me see your face.
Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face? You are now out of your text. But we will draw the curtain and show you the picture. Look you, sir, such a one I was this present. Is't not well done?
Excellently done, if God did all.
'Tis in grain, sir, 'twill endure wind and weather.
'Tis beauty truly blent, whose red and white nature's own sweet cunning hand laid on. Lady, you are the cruelest she alive, if you will lead these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy.
Oh, sir, I will not be so hard-hearted. I will give out diverse schedules of my beauty. It shall be inventoried, and every particle and utensil labeled to my will as item. 2 lips, indifferent red. Item 2 gray eyes with lids to them. Item 1 neck, 1 chin, and so forth. Were you sent hither to praise me?
I see that you are too proud. But if you are the devil, you are fair. My lord and my master loves you. Oh, such love could be but recompensed, though you were crowned the nonpareil of beauty.
How does he love me?
With adorations, fertile tears, with groans that thunder love, with sighs of fire.
Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, and in dimension and the shape of nature a gracious person. But yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago.
If I did love you in my master's flame, with such a suffering, such a deadly life, in your denial I would find no sense. I would not understand it.
Why? What would you?
Make me a willow cabin at your gate, and call upon my soul within the house. Write loyal cantos of contemplated love, and sing them loud, even in the dead of night. Halloo your name to the reverberate hills, and make the babbling gossip of the air cry out, Olivia! Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me.
You might do much. What is your parentage?
Above my fortunes, yet my state is well. I am a gentleman.
Get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more. I thank you for your pains. Spend this for me.
I am no feed post, lady. Keep your purse. My master, not myself, lacks recompense. Love makes his heart a flint that you shall love, and let your fervor, like my master's, be placed in contempt. Farewell, fair cruelty.
This scene is a great example of the contrast between how men argue for what they want and how women argue for what they want. In Shakespeare, you may remember from the Rhetorical Devices episode when Richard III was being all salesman-y with Lady Anne, trying to get her to forgive him. In fairness, it does work in the end, but probably because he has intimidating goons who could kill her, not because she actually forgives him in the end. You don't say no to royalty.
Prior to the scene we just saw from the 12th Night, Olivia is being bombarded by all sorts of suitors, hoping to wear her down until she picks them. They use basically insults to win her over. So when Viola, masquerading as Orsino's messenger, Cesario, comes to Olivia with her sweet words of persuasion, flattery, and subtle insults that only a girl would understand, it is a breath of fresh air for Olivia. Olivia is determined that even though her father and brother have died, she doesn't need a man to help her manage her estate as a countess. If she chooses anyone, it will be because they respect her and honor her autonomy. Her uncle, Sir Toby, even says at one point, she will not match above her degree, basically saying she will not marry down so she can stay in control. She wants to be richer, smarter, and more powerful than her husband.
Watching Viola in this scene is almost like watching a fencer carefully and agilely moving around in order to win the fight. She has to not only persuade Olivia to pick Orsino and thus complete her job, but she also totally understands where Olivia is coming from and wants to respect her, especially since Viola lost a brother as well, or so she thinks. The plot that develops between these two ladies has many twists and turns. Their interactions always keep the audience engaged because not only are you rooting for them, but you also want to see what will happen next with them. You can't possibly imagine it will work out with them, but thankfully it's a Shakespearean comedy, so it has to.
In our last example, you will see Isabella, an unmarried commoner who aspires to become a nun, stand up to a very powerful judge who is running the city in the absence of the Duke. Watch Act 2, Scene 2 from Measure for Measure as Isabella tries to save her brother's life. He has been condemned to death for the capital crime of, was it murder? Was it robbery? Was it essay?
Nope. He and his fiancée got busy before the wedding and she got pregnant. Draconian society indeed.
And like the last scene, we will provide super titles to help paraphrase some of the more archaic lines.
Stay a little while. You're welcome. What's your will?
I am a willful suitor to your honor. Please but your honor hear me.
Well, what's your suit?
There is a vice that most I do abhor, and most desire should meet the blow of justice, for which I would not plead, but that I must.
Well, the matter?
I have a brother is condemned to die. I do beseech you, let it be his fault and not my brother.
Condemn the fault and not the actor of it. Why, every fault's condemned ere it be done. Mine were the very cipher of a function, to find the faults whose fine stands in record, and let go by the actor.
Oh, just but severe law! I had a brother then. Heaven keep your honor. Must he needs die?
Maiden, no remedy.
Yes, I do think that you might pardon him, and neither heaven nor man grieve at the mercy.
I will not do it.
But can you, if you would?
He's sentenced, 'tis too late.
Too late? Why, no. I that do speak a word may call it back again. Well, believe this, not the king's crown nor the deputed sword become them with one so good a grace as mercy does. If he had been as you, and you as him, you would have slipped like him, but he, like you, would not have been so stern.
Pray you be gone. Your brother is a forfeit of the law, and you but waste your words.
Alas, alas! Why, all the souls that were forfeit once, and he that might the vantage best have took found out the remedy. How would you be if he, which is the top of judgment, should but judge you as you are? Oh, think on that, and mercy then will breathe within your lips like new made.
Be you content, fair maid. It is the law, not I, condemn your brother. The law hath not been dead, though it hath slept. Those many had not dared to do that evil if the first that did the edict infringe had answered for his deed. Now 'tis awake, and takes note of what is done, and like a prophet looks in a glass, that shows what future evils, either new or by remissness new conceived, and so in progress to be hatched and born, are now to have no successive degrees, but ere they live to end.
Yet show some pity.
I show it most of all when I show justice. For then I pity those I do not know, which a dismissed offense would after gall.
Could great men thunder as Jove himself does? Jove would ne'er be quiet, for every pelting petty officer would use this heaven for thunder. Nothing but thunder! Merciful heaven, thou rather with thy sharp and sulphurous bolt splits the unwedgeable and gnarled oak than the soft myrtle. But man, proud man, dressed in a little brief authority, play such fantastic tricks before high heaven as make the angels weep, who with our spleens would all themselves laugh, mortal, that in the capital but a choleric word, which in the soldier is flat blasphemy.
Why do you put these sayings upon me?
Because authority, though it err like others, hath yet a kind of medicine in itself that skins the vice o' the top. Go to your bosom, knock there, and ask yourself, and ask your heart what it doth know. That's like my brother's fault, if it confess a natural guiltiness such as his. Let it not sound a thought upon your tongue against my brother's life.
She speaks, and 'tis such sense that my sense breeds with it. Fare you well.
Hark, how I'll bribe you. Good my lord, turn back.
How bribe me?
I, with such gifts that heaven shall share with you, not with fond shekels of the tested gold, or stones whose rates are either rich or poor as fancy values them, but with true prayers, from fasting maids whose minds are dedicate to nothing temporal.
Well, come to me tomorrow.
Heaven keep your honor safe.
Amen. For I am that way going to temptation, where prayers cross.
In a world where women didn't have many rights and almost never had a voice, unless you were the queen.
And even Queen Elizabeth was constantly badgered about when she was getting married.
Speaking against any man, let alone the one in charge, was very dangerous business, especially because he basically held the executioner's axe in his hot little hands. But Isabella emerges from the very demure, very mindful life of the convent and presents her case to Angela with courage and conviction, even darkly hinting that he might be a hypocrite and guiltier than he looks. She doesn't know how truthful that is yet. Hashtag spoiler alert. By the way, Measure for Measure is a problem play. It is neither a comedy nor a tragedy. So we will let you see it or read it out loud to see who either gets married or dies at the end. Maybe neither happens.
This just scratches the surface of some of the strong female characters in Shakespeare's works. As we said in the beginning, there are many more. Some may appear as being one-dimensional, but if you dig a little deeper in the text, you will see that is not the case. Take Queen Margaret in Henry VI, Part 3, Act 1, Scene 4. She comes off as simply a cruel woman who likes to torture the relatives of people she's already killed. But as you see Margaret appear, bless you, across several of Shakespeare's histories, you will realize she, like so many, has been angered and traumatized and was driven to extreme reactions. Even if you don't agree with her actions, she certainly words them beautifully. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head, and whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead. If you have to be murdered, That's a pretty cool last thing to hear.
Another example is Bianca from Othello, who is a prostitute. Even though the others try to define her by her sexuality, she has other interests like embroidery, at which Bianca excels, unfortunately for Desdemona and Othello, but necessary for the plot. For once, we see a prostitute's hobbies on the stage. It's impressive for a playwright working a mere 100 years after the medieval morality plays.
A cool exercise you can use to help find the essence of a character is highlighting the adjectives other characters in the play use to describe your character. This not only helps show you how your character appears to others, but it can help bring a seemingly one-dimensional character into our three-dimensional world. Take Olivia for instance. Everyone has an opinion on Olivia. Orsino's employees call her a cloistress because she won't come back on the dating scene. A cloistress is someone who locks herself away like a nun and devotes herself to prayer.
The sea captain who brings Viola to Illyria describes Olivia as a virtuous maid. Olivia's paid court jester, Feste, calls her a fool straight to her face. He's trying to cheer her up after her brother's death, and he's the only one who can succeed. He has been with her family a long time, which is why it was okay to say it to her face. Viola says Olivia is beautiful, but only if God did all. Perhaps hinting that makeup or a beautification tool used by the rich could be responsible, and thus taking the flattery from simping to banter.
You can practice this at home. Pick your favorite Shakespearean character and see what the other characters in the play have to say about them.
Join us next year as we kick off our year in character analysis. Make sure to mark the date in your planner.
Because if it's not in your planner, it doesn't exist.
And please remember, if you like our vibe,
there is that button that is called subscribe.